Okay, this is our first look at the air raid offense, and what Coach's got a new program there, new quarterback, new system, all that kind of stuff, and it's we've looked at it in the off season, but now it's for real, and so we're anxious to kind of get working at the plan on this thing. They have tremendous potential in this offense with the quarterback who's just lights out athletically and in command of stuff. He's way ahead of his time, I think. Big time running back, great inside receiver, speed, and they go for it. So that's part of it. The other part of it is how they're trying to get after us on defense with their aggressive nature. They got two outside guys that are just wear you out and rushing the passer. So this is it's a big challenge for us. It's the first chance to get into the NFC West, and we'd like to get off to a good start.
Does the air raid just attack all your sensibilities about football?
And I wouldn't have come up with that conclusion. I think what's enhanced here is the movement of the quarterback. When any offense that has a quarterback that can move like this, it just causes just major issues. And it happens to be that they spread you all out, so there's a lot of room. So it's you can see why they picked him. You can see why they picked the coach. The whole thing, it all fits together really well.
Do you have any conversation with college coaches that have seen it a ton of times since it's pretty new on the NFL?
We have. We do everything we can think of, and that's one of them. I'm not going to tell you who we talked to, okay?
Pete, Luke Wilson coming back?
Luke Wilson is coming back, yeah. With the change that happened, how fortunate could we be to get a guy that we love and knows our program? This is just a lifeblood, energy guy in the program as well, and a really good ball player. So we made a switch. We got a chance to get Luke back in it. We're fortunate there.
Does the agreement come with the prohibition of Techno Thursdays, or those coming there?
Techno Thursday is still on the block right now. Yeah, it's still out there. It's still out there. He will pose all the influence he can, though. I know that he will not let up.
Trading Nick, just kind of a deal that came along and just
yeah, they were after it for some time, and they just stayed with it, and John finally made it happen.
Why did that move make sense? Just to basically swap out Vanette for Wilson. What was the upgrade?
The ability to come right back with Luke was part of the thinking, knowing that we could stay abreast with the tempo of what we're doing and the style of stuff that we're doing, and pick up a chance for a pick for the future.
With Kyler, Russ is obviously not the first short quarterback to play in the NFL, but his
Wait. Say that again.
So you're talking about Kyler earlier, and there's a comparisons with Russ being a shorter guy, athletic guy. How much do you think Russ's success has?
He didn't like that either. I'm just thinking of Russ. Go ahead. There you go.
How much do you think Russ's success recently has influenced for guys like Baker Mayfield and Kyler, kind of the draft process?
I don't know how it couldn't have influenced people. That there was a time when you would have thought, like I've dropped on you before, like George Myra. He was maybe the last guy that was about that size. Tarkenton was would think he was taller than Russ, and there just haven't been very many guys over the years, And so when Russ broke through in such big fashion and was so obviously suited for the game, and I think there's no question that he's had an influence on people. And those guys are, I know they're all grateful. I mean, they've still been great players anyway, but I think to be the first pick in the draft, and to have the confidence and all that, I think Russ has added to that thought, and in that he's influenced the game in a big way.
How's Penny doing?
He's going to practice today. We'll see how he does.
How does Jacob Hollister progress, and maybe why isn't he ready for an opportunity like this when the roster?
He's a little bit different player, a little different style player, and we didn't want to skip a beat if we were going to do something, and we thought that this would be a way to do that. And so we're not changing anything in what we do by this move. And Jacob's got really good stuff, and we like him and all that, and his time's coming.
When you were looking at the air raid in the offseason, were you going back and watching Texas Tech film?
That's not that important, really. It's a good question, but we looked at everything. There's different derivations of it, from different coaches and stuff like that. So we looked at a lot of things to try to understand, the scope of it and the potential of it too, and so it's a fantastic offense.
I guess the way the way that he's running it now with the Cardinals, is it similar to the way him and others have run it in college?
Yeah. The difference is the ball's in the middle of the field all the time. It's one of the differences, you know. So that short side of the field is different, and the wide side is drastically different. So they do some different things because of that, I think.
What have your conversations with Carson been like since Sunday about hanging on the ball, things like that?
Well, here's what I would say about that. You're going to see absolute support for our guy. He's a great football player. We love him, and you're going to see what that looks like. You know, there's been a lot of players over the years, through the ages, that have had issues at times, and they put it to rest, and it's behind them, and all that, and that's what's going to happen here. And you will not see me waver in my support for Chris and the belief in the guy as a football player, and you know, and so that's been the conversation. That's the only message that he needs to hear from me, and he's heard it from his teammates as well. So. And we're expecting him to tear it up.
How is Dwayne Brown?
He's not going to practice full today. We're going to rest him for a day here and see how it goes. He's a little sore, but he's not. It's not serious injury right at this point. It's not the kind of damage or anything like that we have to be concerned about. We just got to get him ready for the game, and we'll see how he does.
Has Trey Flowers taken the steps forward in year 2 that you're hoping for in the early going?
He's working hard at it. He's doing. He's better than he was last year. Clearly, he's more confident. He's in the right place more of the time. His technique is better. He has seen the ball a little bit more come his way than last year at this time. But Shaq's doing really well on the other side too, and so there's a little bit of difference in where the targets are going. But he's ready for play and making plays and all that. So he's doing good.
How's Bradley doing?
He's fine. Yeah, he's going today, so we'll look after him. But he seems to be okay.
How about Tedrick Thompson? How's he doing?
Tedrick's going to practice today. So again, remember always those just one day at a time. See how he takes to the work and all that. He's worked his way back though to be ready to practice, and so it'll be a little bit limited. But we'll just go one day at a time and see how he progresses.
Has Leno played well enough to keep that job, or is that up for competition on competition?
It's the comp is on for sure, and he has played well enough to start for us, and so we're lucky in that regard. We got 2 guys that can start at the spot and feel comfortable about it.
Does Larry Fitzgerald's role any different in this offense than it has been?
He's got 18 balls already, you know, averaging 14 something, you know, 2 or 3, maybe 3 touchdowns I think he's got. He's right in the middle of everything. Because of the style, he's not blocking as much as he hasn't been in the past. You know, he's been a great blocker and contributor in a big way, a unique way there. But he still can knock your jock off if you give him half a chance. So he's a really good player there too. He's doing everything. He's got phenomenal catches on the film already. He's got circus grabs and come through catches and all that stuff. And down by the goal line, he's nails. You know, so he doesn't look any different than he's looked in the past. They know that he's really good and they're using him. So. He's still really hard to deal with.
How's Ethan coaching?
Ethan's better. He's getting better. He's going to get some work today to see how he responds to it. We won't know for a while.
What's changed in the NFL that allows the air raid now? Because it was so resistant to a lot of the principles for so long.
Well, think back when run and shoot had to go at it, you know, and that was a style, 4 wide receiver offense, you know, really distinctly different style that hung in there for some time, you know, and Warren Moon had a big run with it, and there are a lot of guys that got a lot of mileage out of that. I don't think it's anything different now, other than the continued emphasis and belief in the passing game. You know, I think they were really ahead of the curve back in the day when Mouse and Davis, was that right? Mouse Davis, yeah. When he brought it in, those guys that were advocates. Now we see it so much more. It's more readily, I think, received. But I don't think it's that much different, really, other than just the belief of the person that's, calling the shots. And so.
Was there a penalty of some sort for Cody Barton throwing a football at your face?
He's been penalized. Yeah, he's been penalized severely. He has to live with that. I'm hanging it over him, too. He's apologized profusely. What were you referring to?
Cliff's
third new head coach in the NFC West in the last few years. Just for first-time coaches, what's the challenge for those guys coming in?
Oh, there's so many challenges, in the transition. The football part of it is more similar than you might think, but it's just the challenges of the schedule and all the games and the extended freedoms that you have to work more with your players. I mean, there's just different opportunities here. The draft to me was always kind of like recruiting in a sense. It's a little bit different, but it's similar, and so that's not so much the same, or so much different. But it's the players too. The players they have a bigger opinion than they did when they were in college. They know more. They've been around more, and so that's it's a different style guy that you're dealing with once they get to that point.
Peter, could you describe your relationship with that stadium in Glendale? I feel it seems like something happens every year, whether it's someone getting hurt, whether it's Super Bowl, a tie.
I don't think I have any relationship with it other than a normal place. Honestly, I don't feel any different. We've been there a lot, and it seems like we've won there some, so it's just another place to go.
What do you make of all the weird things that have happened there over the last few years?
I don't know. Weird stuff can happen here too. Sometimes you can get hit right in the nose.
Do you get more fan support there than any other road stadium?
It does feel like we have a really good following there. We always have had that, and it's always been welcomed, of course. 12s, they've always turned out great there. It's been consistent.
Does George have a chance to challenge Jermaine at right tackle?
George has always been in the competition of it, and we use him in other ways, and he gives us great value, and then he can play both sides, and the other stuff that we do with him. So we like the role that he's got, but he could play easily. He can play on both sides.
How much have you gone over your coaching protocols since the game Sunday? 2-point conversions, timeouts, things
There were
like
a couple
that?
things, yeah. There's a couple things that were different than normal. That I got a little bit. I don't know, maybe because I got hit in the snodge, I don't know. But, yeah, we have.
What's been
How
your
much? I can't weigh that out. Go, sorry.
Yes. What's been your overall assessment of your coverage and return teams this year? Obviously, you had the one breakdown, but I guess aside from that, or
Yeah, I've loved what we've been doing. We've been, other than the one play, we've been really good. Working together with the kicks and the placement of it and all of that and the punts. And, Jay Mai's done a great job kicking off, and, we've had nothing there. So it's just a terrific returner, hit it just right, caught us off guard just a hair and just split us, on the one play. I'm hoping that's just a one-time deal, because it hasn't, our coverage has been spectacular for the most part.
Is Ed Dixon on track to return when he's eligible?
We'll see. He's got the time's getting down there now. And he's working at it. I really won't know until we get closer. I don't really have a good assessment for you. I'm concerned about it though. That the race is on.
Did signing Luke have something to do with that as well then?
Not necessarily. It was really about replacing.
Sorry, was there like a setback with Ed? Because it seemed like in the beginning the timetable was right
No,
around the
I
start.
think he's on schedule, but I don't know until we get closer where he can really start working and can see him. He's still in the rehab phases.
How are teams defending you on runs and early downs different than last year, or is it?
Nah, not much different. It's pretty much the same.
And so, has it been on you guys then, and just not getting a
Yeah, well, I remind you that we threw the ball every snap in the second half last week because we were down. The first time we went out, it's 27-7. And so I said to Shotty, let's go 2 minutes right now and see how Russ does and see if we can move it, and then we would come back out of it if things, depending on what happened. And so first half was 90 yards rushing, so combined with the quarterback and all that, but still 90. So we were on track for a big day.
What are you seeing of Michael Dixon from last year to this year? Any difference in him at all?
I don't see any different numbers wise. I don't think Mike's expectations were every ball was going to be a freaking bomb, and nobody does that. But I think his expectations are probably the biggest challenge right now because he wants to be great at everything he's doing. The kick that they returned, I think it was a 4.5 hang time, but it was shorter, 38. We should have been able to cover that. I think he'll, kickers are going to go. I think he's going to, there's going to be some ebbs and flows to it, and he's got great stuff, and we're lucky to have him.
Pete, what is it about Jordan Hicks and Hassan Reddick that's, like you said, at the top, that's making them able to fly in and just, is it the athleticism, the ability to ball?
Yeah, they're very instinctive, and Reddick in particular runs really well, so he shows up everywhere. They're very aggressive in their style of play. They're really attack, and they're trying to get you, and trying to hit you in the backfield and all that, and trying to run through and all that. So that shows up and stands out in their style.
Anything else?
Do it, Joe, right now.